The fluorescent lights of Technovision Industries hummed softly in the early hours of dawn as CEO Marcus Wellington stepped out of the executive elevator on the 42nd floor. At 6:15 a.m., the Manhattan skyscraper was virtually empty, save for the overnight security guards and cleaning crew. Marcus preferred these quiet morning hours to review quarterly reports before the chaos of another business day began. Walking down the pristine marble hallway toward his corner office, Marcus noticed something unusual. The cleaning cart was positioned outside the conference room, but there was no movement, no sound of vacuum cleaners or the typical bustle of the overnight maintenance staff. As he approached the glass-walled conference room, Marcus stopped abruptly. There, curled up on the leather sofa, was a young woman in a blue cleaning uniform, her arms wrapped protectively around a sleeping infant. Both mother and child were deep in exhausted slumber, surrounded by cleaning supplies and a small diaper bag. Marcus stood frozen for a moment, his businessman's instincts warring with unexpected emotion. The woman looked no older than 20, with dark circles under her eyes visible even in sleep. The baby, probably around 8 months old, was nestled against her chest, tiny fingers clutching her uniform. Rather than immediately confronting the situation, Marcus quietly retreated to his office and pulled up the building's employee files on his computer. After scrolling through the cleaning service contractor's staff roster, he found her, Isabella Martinez, 24 years old, employed for 3 months through Pristine Cleaning Services. 20 minutes later, Isabella stirred as the baby began to fuss. Her eyes shot open in panic as she realized where she was. Quickly gathering her things, she tried to calm her son Miguel while frantically looking around to ensure no one had seen them. "Good morning, Isabella," the voice came from the doorway. Isabella's heart nearly stopped as she turned to see Marcus Wellington himself standing there, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, his expression unreadable. "Mr. Wellington, I can explain," Isabella stammered, holding Miguel closer as he began to cry. "I was just finishing up the conference room, and Miguel was fussy, so I thought." "I'm so sorry, sir. It won't happen again." Marcus studied her for a moment, noting the tremor in her voice and the way she instinctively positioned herself protectively in front of her child. "How long have you been bringing your son to work?" Isabella's eyes filled with tears. 2 weeks, sir. My babysitter got sick and couldn't watch him anymore, and I couldn't afford to miss work. I always make sure he doesn't disturb anyone, and I finish all my assignments. Please don't fire me. I need this job." The desperation in her voice hit Marcus unexpectedly hard. He found himself thinking of his own mother, who had worked multiple jobs to support him after his father left when he was 7. "Where's his father?" Marcus asked, his tone softer than Isabella had expected. "He left when I was 6 months pregnant," Isabella replied quietly, rocking Miguel gently. "Said he wasn't ready to be a father. I've been managing on my own since then." Marcus walked to the window, looking out at the awakening city below. The irony wasn't lost on him. Here he was, worth over $200 million, standing in a conference room that costs more than most people's annual salaries, facing a young mother who was literally sleeping at work because she had nowhere else to go. "Isabella, how many jobs do you currently work?" She hesitated before answering. 3, sir. I clean offices here at night, work at a diner during lunch shifts, and do weekend house cleaning for families in Queens. Miguel comes with me to the house cleaning jobs. The families don't mind." Marcus turned back to face her. "When do you sleep?" "I manage," Isabella said, though her exhaustion was evident. "Miguel's been sleeping better lately, so I get a few hours here and there." The baby had calmed down and was now looking at Marcus with curious, dark eyes. Without thinking, Marcus found himself smiling slightly at the child, who responded with a toothless grin. "What's your educational background, Isabella?" "I graduated high school with honors and completed 2 years of community college studying business administration," she said, a hint of pride creeping into her voice. "I had to drop out when I got pregnant, but I always planned to go back someday." Marcus nodded slowly, his mind racing. He had built his technology empire from nothing, understanding intimately what it meant to struggle and fight for every opportunity, but he had never faced the challenge of doing it while caring for a child. "Pack up your things," Marcus said finally. Isabella's face went pale. "Please, Mr. Wellington. I know I made a mistake bringing Miguel here, but you're not fired, Isabella," Marcus interrupted gently. "But we need to have a longer conversation, and this isn't the right place for it." Can you meet me at Rosie's Diner on 47th Street at 2 p.m. today? Isabella looked confused but nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Of course. As she gathered her belongings and lifted Miguel into her arms, Marcus surprised himself by reaching out to help her with the diaper bag. Isabella, he said as they walked toward the elevator together, bring your resume to lunch, and any college transcripts you might have. The elevator doors closed between them, leaving Marcus alone with his thoughts, and a growing certainty that this encounter was going to change both their lives in ways neither of them could yet imagine. At exactly 2 p.m., Isabella entered Rosie's Diner carrying Miguel in a second-hand stroller. She had changed out of her cleaning uniform into her best jeans and a modest blouse, her dark hair pulled back neatly. Despite her nervousness, she held her head high as she spotted Marcus sitting in a corner booth, looking oddly out of place in his expensive suit among the diner's working-class clientele. Marcus stood as she approached, surprising her by pulling out her chair and helping her position the stroller. Thank you for coming, Isabella. I ordered coffee. I hope that's okay. Of course, sir, Isabella replied, settling Miguel with a small toy to keep him occupied. She placed a manila folder on the table containing her resume and college transcripts as requested. Marcus opened the folder and spent several minutes reading through her academic records, his eyebrows raised as he studied her grades, nearly straight A's in business courses, with particular strengths in operations management and financial analysis. These are impressive grades, Isabella. Your professors wrote glowing recommendations. I worked hard, she said simply. Education was always important to my parents. They immigrated from El Salvador with nothing, but they always said knowledge was something no one could take away from you. Marcus looked up from the papers. What happened to your parents? Isabella's expression grew sad. My father died in a construction accident when I was 19. My mother passed from cancer 6 months after Miguel was born. She never got to see him walk or hear him say his first words. The pain in her voice was raw and honest. Marcus found himself moved by her resilience in the face of such overwhelming loss. I'm sorry for your losses, he said genuinely. It sounds like they raised a remarkable daughter. Isabella smiled softly. They would have loved Miguel. My mother used to say that every child deserves a chance to reach for the stars, no matter where they start. Marcus leaned back in his seat, studying Isabella carefully. Miguel had fallen asleep in his stroller, and the afternoon sunlight streaming through the diner window cast a gentle glow over the small family tableau. Isabella, I have a proposition for you, but I want you to hear me out completely before you respond. She nodded, her attention fully focused on him. Technovision Industries is expanding rapidly. I need someone to oversee our facilities' operations, managing building services, coordinating with contractors, ensuring our work environments meet the highest standards. It's a demanding position that requires someone with strong organizational skills, attention to detail, and the ability to manage multiple priorities simultaneously. Isabella listened intently, unsure where this was leading. The position would start at $75,000 annually, with full health benefits, paid vacation, and opportunities for advancement. There's also a company daycare facility on the 15th floor that provides excellent childcare for employees' children at no cost. Isabella's eyes widened in disbelief. Mr. Wellington, I don't understand. Why would you offer me such an opportunity? You barely know me. Marcus was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. This morning, when I found you sleeping with Miguel, I saw something that reminded me of my own mother. She worked multiple jobs to keep us afloat after my father left. She often fell asleep in her work clothes, exhausted from trying to provide for us. He paused, his voice growing softer. But more than that, I saw your college transcripts. I saw your work ethic. You've been juggling 3 jobs while caring for an infant, and you still maintain professional standards. That's the kind of dedication and character I want in my company. Isabella felt tears welling up in her eyes. Mr. Wellington, this is incredibly generous, but I have to ask, what do you get out of this? I can't imagine you make decisions like this lightly. Marcus smiled, appreciating her directness. You're right to question it. Here's the truth. I've been looking for someone to head facilities operations for months. I've interviewed dozens of candidates with impressive resumes and years of experience, but none of them had the problem-solving skills and determination I witnessed in you this morning. He leaned forward, his expression becoming more serious. You managed to maintain 3 jobs, care for your son, and still show up every night to do quality work. You found creative solutions when your childcare fell through. You prioritized your responsibilities even when you were exhausted. Those are exactly the skills I need in this position. Isabella wiped away a tear, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what was being offered. What would be expected of me? Initially, you'd work with our current facilities manager for 2 months to learn our systems and procedures. After that, you'd take full responsibility for the department. The hours are typically 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, though occasionally you might need to coordinate with overnight contractors or handle emergency situations. Miguel began to stir, and Isabella gently rocked the stroller. And the daycare is really free for employees. Completely free. It's staffed by certified childcare professionals, and they provide educational activities, meals, and even have a pediatric nurse on staff. Miguel would be well cared for while you work. Isabella looked down at her sleeping son, then back at Marcus. Mr. Wellington, this feels like a dream. I'm grateful beyond words, but I have to ask, what if I fail? What if I'm not capable of handling such responsibility? Marcus reached across the table and placed his hand gently over hers. Isabella, everyone deserves a chance to prove what they're capable of. Your mother was right. Every child deserves to reach for the stars, but so does every parent trying to build a better life for their child. He sat back, his expression becoming businesslike again. I'm not offering this as charity. I'm offering it because I believe you'll excel in this role, but I understand if you need time to think about it. Isabella looked around the diner, at the other patrons who looked like her working people, trying to make ends meet, many probably juggling multiple jobs just to survive. She thought about her parents, who had sacrificed everything for the chance to build a better life in America. She thought about Miguel, and the opportunities this could provide for his future. Mr. Wellington, she said, her voice steady despite her emotions. I don't need time to think about it. I accept your offer, and I promise you won't regret giving me this chance. Marcus smiled broadly, extending his hand across the table. Welcome to Technovision Industries, Isabella. When can you start? As soon as you need me to, she replied, shaking his hand firmly. As they left the diner together, Marcus, carrying the diaper bag while Isabella pushed Miguel's stroller. Neither of them fully realized how this moment would transform not just their own lives, but eventually touch the lives of hundreds of employees, who would benefit from Isabella's compassionate leadership style and Marcus's renewed commitment to seeing his workforce as human beings, rather than just resources. The story of the exhausted cleaner and the millionaire CEO was just beginning, but it had already proven that sometimes the most powerful transformations come from the simplest acts of human recognition and dignity. 6 months later, Isabella Martinez would be promoted to Vice President of Operations, Miguel would be thriving in the company daycare, and Marcus Wellington would establish the Second Chances scholarship program for single parents pursuing higher education, a testament to the truth that when we lift others up, we lift ourselves up in the process.